Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. The rains are still not letting up across the country, destroying livelihood and disrupting work and school. And it looks like bad weather will persist for the better part of the week as new weather systems are spotted inside the Philippines.
And the Philippines has given up on negotiating around the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. What the Marcos administration can only promise now is the proper deportation of undocumented Filipinos so they are not sent to a third country.
And as former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque returning to the Philippines, the lawmaker says he's thinking about it, vowing to fight the Marcos administration even from behind bars.
Po kami tapos uuwi lang ulit.
Vlogger!
In a weather bulletin this afternoon, Pag-asa said they are monitoring two low-pressure areas inside the Philippines' area of responsibility. Now let's discuss this with News 5's weather specialist Alvin Pura. Go ahead, Alvin. Ano ba ang chances na magiging bagyo itong low-pressure area na dalawa?
Alright, Ma'am Ces, meron tayong ang binabantayang dalawang low-pressure system dito po sa northeastern part ng ating bansa. Yung nauna is around 1,220 kilometers east ng southeastern Luzon. So yan po yung naunang nabuong low pressure area. Kaninang hapon, meron tayong nabuong panibagong low pressure area naman dito sa eastern section ng Cagayan. So banda dito. Yung kanyang trough umaabot yan sa ilang parts ng Cagayan. Itong dalawang low pressure system natin ay part ng tinatawag nating monsoon trough. So kaya kahit wala po tayong bagyo or nakalayo na yung bagyong Krising at kahit wala pa itong mga low pressure system na ito, kung mapapansin natin hindi naman tumigil yung epekto ng habagat or southwest monsoon. Pero dahil mas nagkaroon nga tayo ng mga low pressure system dito, mas mararamdaman pa natin ang epekto ng habagat in the next few days. Magiging bagyo ba ang mga system na ito or low pressure area na ito? Ayon sa Pag-asa, nasa medium o katamtaman po ang chance na maging bagyo nitong low pressure area na ito, itong dalawang low pressure area na ito. Pero ang mangyayari po dyan is, kung ano po yung mas malakas sa dalawang ito, ay hihilahin niya or hihigupin niya yung mas mahina at magiging part ng kanyang sirkulasyon. So magkakaroon tayo ng parang mala monsoon gyre setup o isang malawak na sirkulasyon. Kagaya rin itong dating bagyong Krising. Dahil dyan, habang binabaybay niyan, itong northeastern part ng ating bansa, yan ay hihila ng habagat or southwest monsoon. Kaya hindi natin anytime soon makikitang mawala yung ating habagat. Magpapatuloy yan, magpaulan sa malaking bahagi ng ating bansa, particularly dito sa Metro Manila at dito sa areas na malapit dito. Sa ngayon, ito po yung axis niyan. So may mga areas tayo sa bansa na hindi man masyadong maulan, pero generally dito po sa area na ito, doon natin nararanasan yung concentration ng malalakas na pagulan dulot ng ating habagat or southwest monsoon. Yes, yes?
Alvin, so what you're saying is yung nararanasan nating mga pag-ulan dito sa Metro Manila, sa Batangas, no, yung mga ibang areas sa western part ng Luzon ay dahil na sa pinalakas ng habagat.
Yes, yun, enhanced habagat ang tawag natin dyan at hindi dahil sa mga low pressure system na ito. Malayo po yan sa ating bansa at hindi natin nakikita yan mag-landfall. If ever nga maging bagyong Dante yan sa loob ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility, right now, mababa pa rin ang chance niyan mag-landfall or tumama sa lupa. Aakit lang yan, papunta dito sa area ng Taiwan or Southern Japan. Hindi nga natin nakikita mag-landfall. Pero habang bumabaybayan dito sa areas ng northeastern part ng ating bansa, makikita natin na yan ay magpapalakas ng habagat. So, kung makikita nyo dito sa wind simulation natin, malawak na sirkulasyon ang mabubuo dyan. Ito, yung posible nating tawaging bagyong Dante. Kasabay niyan, magpapatuloy yan, mag-enhance ng habagat or southwest monsoon. Yung enhanced habagat, mararamdaman natin yan in the next few days pa. Kaya mag-ready po tayo sa mga possible effects niyan, especially mga widespread floodings. Yes, Sean?
Alvin, ito na mga Fujiwara effect, posible bang mangyari yan? At para sa mga viewers natin na hindi pa masyadong pamilyar dyan sa Fujiwara, paki-explain naman kung ano nga ba yun?
Okay, ganito ang Fujiwara effect. Pag meron tayong dalawang low pressure system or dalawang bagyo na at least 2,000 kilometers ang layo sa isa't isa, nagkakaroon yan ng parang sayaw o Fujiwara effect. Pero dapat halos magsingla sila. Hindi pwedeng mas malakas yung isa or mas mahina yung isa dahil hihilahin niya lang yan or hihigupin siya or magiging parte lang siya ng sirkulasyon niya. So dapat nagkakalapit ang lakas niyan or hindi gaanong malayo. yung kanyang mga wind flow or wind barbs, yun yung maghihilan or magtutulakan sa kanila. Kaya magkakaroon tayo ng parang umiikot na dalawang sama ng panahon. Yun yung tinatawag nating Fujiwara effect. In this case, meron tayong nakikitang mas lalakas na bagyo. Kung mapapansin nyo dito sa ating wind simulation, ito ang mas malayo, yung inaasahan natin na mas lalakas. In the next few days, magiging parte siya ng sirkulasyon nitong nung mas malakas, yung mas mahina, at magiging isang malawak na sirkulasyon. So parang i-absorb niya yung circulation ng mas mahina nating sama ng panahon. So less likely natin nakikita yung tinatawag nating Fujiwara effect o yung sayaw nga ng mga bagyo.
Tama ba i-assume, Alvin, na pag hinigop ng mas malaking LPA, yung mas mahinang LPA, mas magiging mas malaking LPA siya, and then hihigupin din nila yung hanging habagat, so lalo pang makakaranas ng mga pag-ulan?
Sean, tama yung paghila at pagpapalakas sa habagat nitong ating mas malawak na sirkulasyon. Pero yung dalawang bagyo, pag nagsanib, not necessarily lalakas ito. Hindi siya parang yung anime na Dragon Balls na pag nagsanib, nagiging mas malakas yung mga bagyo natin. Pag nagsanib, nangangahulugan lang yun na nagkakaroon siya ng nagiging parte ng sirkulasyon yung isa. So hindi naman siya parang hindi siya vector na pag pinagsama mo is magsasama yung lakas niya. Oh.
Pero mas malawak ang lugar na pinag-iikutan nila. Hindi
Diyan
rin?
ka magiging tama, Ma'am Ses. Makikita nga natin na dahil sinakop niya yung sirkulasyon ng mas mahinang low pressure area natin, mas malawak ngayon yung ating trough o yung tinatawag nating extension ng ating bagyo. So mas naging malawak yung ating sirkulasyon. At Ses, kung mapapansin natin yung mas mahinang mga low pressure system, kagaya nitong ating binabantayan sa ngayon, mas malawak ang sirkulasyon niyan at mas buhaghag pa yung ating mga kaulapan. Pero yung mga nakikita nating malalakas na bagyo, gaya ng mga Yolanda, Odette, kung mapapansin nyo, siksik yung ating mga pagsirkulasyon niyan o yung pag-ikot niyan dahil dito sa tinatawag nating centrifugal force ng bagyo. So depende po yan sa panahon at kung paano nabubuo yung ating bagyo at sa mga weather system na nakapalibot dito. Again, kung mapapansin nyo nga, napakalawak ng ating inaasahang sirkulasyon para dito sa posibleng maging bagyong Dante.
Alvin, after nitong LPA na ito, meron pa bang nagbabadya sa labas ng Philippine Area of Responsibility, or meron ba tayong nakikitang parang bright spot literally na baka mas umayos na yung panahon after a few more days?
As of now, base dito sa ating mga long range model, sa mga susunod na linggo, meron tayong nakikitang paghina naman or pag-atras nitong ating habagat or southwest monsoon. Pero medyo malayo pa ito sa ating forecast model. Ibig sabihin po niyan, hindi pa po yan ganun ka-accurate. Around nasa 1 week yung ating nakikitang mas accurate yung ating low pressure computer models na output. Pero nga, dahil nga aktibo yung tinatawag nating monsoon trap, meron tayong mga makikitang posibleng mabuong low pressure system dyan or mga posibleng bagyo, kagaya nga nito sa darating na weekend or next week. Lagi natin yung minomonitor dahil nga itong mas malayo, less likely pa yan or hindi pa yan ganun ka-accurate at dahil aktibo itong ating monsoonal trough, yan yung ating pinagmumula ng mga low pressure system at mga bagyo. At dahil nga meron tayong tinatawag na wet phase din ng MJO, yun din po yung nagdadala ng mataas na convective properties dito sa West Philippine Sea. Kaya napakaraming ulan ng ating natatanggap.
Alvin, may sukat kaya sa dami ng ulan na binubuhos dito ng southwest monsoon? Dahil ang nakikita na nga natin sa screen kanina ay yung level ng Marikina River na nasa alert level 3 na.
No, 2 pa lang.
2 pa lang, approaching 3.
Approaching 3.
So, talagang, ano ba yung pinakamalalang amount ng rainfall na naranasan natin galing southwest monsoon?
Just wala pa tayong data sa ngayon yan, pero nitong mga nakaraang araw ay nakaranas talaga tayo ng malawakang pag-ulan na dulot ng habagat or southwest monsoon. At in the next few days, possible pa yan mangyari. Pero sa ngayon, hindi pa to nakikita natin na maging kasing level nung nakaraang taon na Bagyong Karina, kung maalala nyo, na sobrang lawak nung pag-ulan na halos 2 buwan or isang buwang dami ng pag-ulan ang natanggap ng Metro Manila. Sa ngayon, hindi pa rin natin nakikita, pero hindi pa tapos yung ating habagat episode. Episode ang tawag natin dyan sa ngayon dahil nga nagkaulan na nitong nakarang araw at mag-uulan pa sa mga susunod na araw. So, magkakaroon tayo ng general idea niyan sa mga susunod na araw pag nakakuha na tayo ng data dahil doon sa ating tinatawag na accumulated rainfall o yung mga nakukuha nating pag-ulan. Dulot nga nitong ating habagat episode this time.
Ang habagat, Alvin, Ang hirap i-predict nung rainfall amount. Bakit ba nagkakaganon? Kasi kapag may bagyo, syempre may mga kategorya yan, may sukat ng wind speed, ganon. Pero bakit yung habagat, grabe talaga, nasa ibang level yung buhos niya, tapos bilang titigil, babalik, panaka-naka.
Yes, yun, tama ka dyan. Mas madali nga actually mag-predict ng hangin at ulan sa mga bagyo dahil makikita natin na isa siyang moving system, lalong-lalo na kapag nakahiwalay siya sa mga monsoonal system natin, kagaya ng habagat or amihan. Madaling makita yan dahil kapag nakadaan na yung bagyo, wala na rin siyang, sumasama sa kanya yung mga pag-ulan niya at yung hangin. Pero itong habagat po, ang concept natin dyan is yung ating mga habagat system ay wind system. Yung hangin natin ang gagaling yan sa mga high pressure area, dito sa area ng Australia, tumatawid dyan sa equator, pumupunta dito sa may West Philippine Sea, at tumatawid nga sa mga low pressure, or pumupunta dito sa mga low pressure system sa itaas na bahagi ng ating bansa, tumatawid yan sa ating bansa. Ngayon, nagdidepende yung lakas niyan sa lakas nitong ating low pressure system. Kaya pag lumakas yung ating mga bagyo, lumalakas din yung ating habagat at doon sa pinanggagalingan niyang high pressure area. So napakahirap niyang estimahin kung gaano kalakas yung dami ng ulan yan at kung gaano siya katagal. Dahil nga, hindi naman kaagad nawawala yung mga low pressure system dito at hindi rin nakikita yung ating high pressure area naman sa baba. Ngayon, ito pong habagat, ang isa sa characteristics yan, kaya napakahirap din mag-estimate ng mga pag-ulan yan. Para yung conveyor belt, nabubuo yung ating mga pag-ulan dito sa may West Philippine Sea, lumalapit sa atin yan. So, kaya nakakaranas tayo minsan lang moderate rains, tapos heavy rain. So, depende nga sa lakas niya kung ano yung natatanggap natin ng mga pag-ulan. Pero, kapag malakas yung ating habagat, tuloy-tuloy halos yung ating mga nararanasang pag-ulan, gaya ngayon.
And Alvin, July pa lang o July na, pero pangatlong bagyo pa lang ang tumatama sa Pilipinas, which is Krising. Ilan ba ang mga sama ng panahon na tinataya ng pag-asa for this year, 2025?
On a yearly average, nagkakaroon tayo ng 19 to 20 na bagyo at nag-average siya ng 7 to 9 landfalls. Ngayon, dahil nasa mid-year na tayo, so around 50 na bagyo pa ang ating inaasahan pumasok or mabuo sa loob ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. Pero ang peak nga ng ating habagat or southwest monsoon ay nagsisimula or nararanasan natin tuwing buwan ng July hanggang September.
Okay, maraming salamat sa iyo, Alvin. 15 pa. O kaya huwag ka munang umuwi, ha? Diyan ka lang.
Hanggang September ka na.
Kinokontrata ka na namin, Alvin.
Okay, maraming salamat ulit sa paglatag nung maaasahan natin ngayong linggo. News 5 weather specialist Alvin Pura.
Now, in anticipation of continuing bad weather, the Department of Interior and Local Government, or DILG, has already announced class suspensions for tomorrow, July 22nd. There will be no classes in all levels in Metro Manila, Zambales, Bataan, Pampanga, Bulacan, Cavite, and Batangas. That's also the case for Rizal, Pangasinan, Tarlac, and Occidental Mindoro. Government work will also be suspended in all mentioned areas except for essential employees engaged in disaster response. Private companies are given the discretion to suspend work.
The DILG likewise acknowledged that government has been lousy and that they should have already declared class and work suspensions on Sunday night. In the vernacular, the DILG's message read, and I quote, "Mga abangers, lousy kami sa gobyerno kahapon, dapat kagabi pa lang, inunahan na namin ang delubyo." The agency also advised the public to keep monitoring their social media accounts for updates, since the rains are expected to persist until Thursday.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, the Philippines is standing down and will not contest the Trump administration's deportation drive. But it is also not allowing Filipinos illegally staying in the U.S. to be dumped in another country. We have that development and more when the big story returns. Stay tuned.
The big story is back with Philippine Ambassador to the United States, Babe Romualdez, saying the U.S. Congress has approved the plan to set up an ammunition facility in the Philippines. This is for the one in Subic, which Romualdez says a number of companies have already shown interest in.
Well, I think that the first step that was taken was that the U.S. Congress has approved the production of ammunition in the Philippines. Obviously, we're open to that one because it's a good way of being able to have a combination of both defense and economic cooperation between the Philippines and the United States. So, again, these are talks that we're pursuing together with our economic team on how we can continue to have this type of cooperation, especially with the U.S. Defense Department. No formal talks yet. We are still in the process of seeing what this new bill that was included in the U.S. Congress National Defense Act. So we're waiting for that, but we're preparing for it. We have a number of companies in the Philippines that are interested in joining that potential consortium, basically, into this production facility.
Meantime, Romualdez does not see the Philippines and the United States having a free trade agreement soon, at least not until the two nations nail down a final pact on reciprocal tariffs, which the U.S. wants at 20% for Philippine goods.
Still very far in the sense that we have to get over this particular discussion first on the tariff. After that, we're hoping that the free trade agreement would probably come into play. If you remember, during the first administration, there was already conversations surrounding the FTA, and we were in the process of actually going in that direction. But that changed, obviously, with the new administration.
On another issue, Romualdez admits Manila will no longer negotiate around U.S. President Donald Trump's deportation drive. There are almost 4,000 illegal Filipino immigrants being monitored across the United States by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. These are undocumented Pinoys in the list of non-detained docket, with final orders of removal by country of citizenship as of November 2024.
We probably will not need to, because we've had discussions already. I've had meetings with the Department of Homeland Security on how we can cooperate with the United States on how to handle illegal immigration. As I've always said, those that have a legal path should have already contacted immigration lawyers. But I think at the end of the day, the laws of the United States must be respected, just like we expect citizens who come to the Philippines to also respect our laws. So the bottom line is there is really not much room for discussion, but to simply work in such a way that all Filipinos that are up for deportation will be deported to the Philippines and not to a third country, which I think is already been agreed upon, that any kind of deportation will be.
Well, back here at home, we're still keeping a close watch on the bad weather and its impact. And here are live pictures of the Marikina River. As of 7:20 p.m., the water level has reportedly reached 17.5 meters already, which means that Marikina is now under second alarm and preemptive evacuation is being implemented. Now, just for context, the normal level in Marikina River is 14.9 meters. So yung 17.5, medyo mataas na yan, no? In fact, it's just 0.5 meters away from the third alarm, where forced evacuation will be implemented, especially for residents who live in low-lying areas. So the third alarm is that happens when the water level will reach 18 meters. So right now, it's still 17.5, but if the rains continue and persist, it could reach third alarm in Marikina City. And looking back to 2024, if you can remember, the third alarm was raised also during Typhoon Karina because of the heavy rainfall. So may titignan din natin, no? If rains persist, well, it looks like mandatory evacuation will also be implemented in Marikina City.
Late class suspensions caused a lot of students to get stranded today as incessant rainfall inundated areas in Metro Manila and neighboring provinces. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos with a story.
Rains poured non-stop over Metro Manila over the weekend until Monday, July 21st. Flooding in España Boulevard in Manila. There was almost no passenger vehicle in sight. That students had to wade through dirty floodwaters just to get to their destinations. Most mayors in Metro Manila only decided to suspend classes in the afternoon.
Dapat alam nila na yung situations ng mga estudyante at situation ng Manila pag maulan na ganito is ganun, na madaling magbaha. Alam naman natin lahat yon. So, sana at least kagabi or at earlier this morning nakapag-announce na sana sila.
Sobrang hassle po kasi hindi lang baha yung traffic pa, tapos pagod rin po kasi pumasok pa po kami tapos uuwi lang ulit.
In Quezon City, video showed a kid running beside the rushing floodwaters in Barangay Batasan Hills. He tried to overtake his father in front of him but instead fell and was swept by the raging waves.
Uy, Diyos ko, buti hindi siya lumusot dito sa pangalawa.
The man dove for the child, attempting to rescue him, but was also a no match to the strong current. Fortunately, both were rescued by neighbors after a few minutes.
Uy, Diyos ko, buti hindi siya lumusot dito sa pangalawa.
Vlogger!
Still in Quezon City, flooding in Commonwealth Avenue was knee-high that no vehicle dared to cross it. One motorcycle tried, but did not make it to the other end of the road. In West Fairview High School, floodwaters reached the roof of the entranceway. Many students were also stranded on Dahlia Street. Over at the Marikina River, the first warning siren sounded around 12:30 p.m. This meant that the water level had reached 15 meters, so residents nearby need to prepare to evacuate. Students whose afternoon classes got suspended passed by the river to check if they should still go back home or head straight to the evacuation centers.
Tinignan ko muna to, pupunta ko sa bahay. If ever na hindi na ako makakatawid, school na rin ang punta ko.
According to Marikina Vice Mayor Del de Guzman, around 300 families have already decided to seek safer ground.
At pamahalaan ay nagbukas na ng mga evacuation centers at mga tao na kailangan kung sakali dadami sila sa evacuation centers, nakahanda lang magkakaroon ng mga.
By 3 p.m. of Monday, Marikina River was on second alarm, which means preemptive evacuation is needed. Mandatory evacuation will be enforced as soon as the water level reaches 18 meters. Fortunately, these men from the other side of the street were able to catch it. The situation is more serious though in other parts of Rodriguez, especially those who live near Wawa Dam.
Ayan, ito po yung sitwasyon namin dito, Riverside, Manggaan, Montalban, Rizal.
Some are asking for help.
Pa-share na rin po ng video para po sa mga rescuer po. Sobrang laki na po ng ilog, talagang apaw na.
Meanwhile, weather improved in areas in the north that experienced the wrath of Tropical Storm Krising. In Cagayan, authorities have begun looking for the missing. One is a man who got swept by the river in town of Alcala last Saturday. But he accidentally let go of the rope, which led them to be swept to the center of a flooded cornfield. His brother attempted to rescue him, but he drowned. In total, more than 2,000 families lost their homes in Cagayan due to Krising. Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos. We are One News.
Project NOAA, when it was launched in 2012, was the government's flagship program for disaster prevention and mitigation. More than a decade later, how has Project NOAA helped in providing warning systems, most especially in times of heavy rain and flooding? And joining us tonight is Project NOAA Executive Director Dr. Mahar Lagmay. Good evening and welcome to The Big Story, Mahar.
Hello, good evening, Ses. Good evening, Sean. Sino pa yung isa?
Pauline.
Pauline, hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
I caught your interview with Gretchen Ho, and you mentioned that soon you will, the website will be providing live updates, real-time updates. Are you able to do that now?
Right now, there are near real-time information such as the satellite data. But I think I was referring to the impact-based forecasting system We can predict a day in advance where it will flood. I mean, large floods that can happen. The warning is about 1 day in advance, and we will add some more features to that impact-based forecasting system by adding near real-time satellite data.
So let's zoom in on Marikina. What is
Right.
the forecast? What is your system telling you?
Well, I was talking to the meteorologist from the Institute of Environmental Science and Meteorology, and he said that severe weather conditions like this are really very hard to forecast. It is because it is the southwest monsoon season, and it gets enhanced, the rains get enhanced when there's low pressure area or a typhoon nearby the country or in the north or in the east of Luzon. Karina already passed the Philippine area of responsibility. It's outside already, but there's a disturbance that suddenly uh, formed in the east of Luzon, and that has been enhancing the rains in the south, in Metro Manila and in the west of Luzon, including parts of Palawan and Mindoro. The forecast this morning, which I actually posted in Facebook, we said that it was going to rain hard in Metro Manila. It depends on the shifting of the rain clouds and the moisture in the west of Luzon, and suddenly it appeared in the west of Manila Bay. So it came earlier. The forecast was really the rains was going to happen this evening. So it's still
So that's why it's so unpredictable, and we can't really blame the DILG or local officials for or
it's
Pag-asa.
really hard
Yeah,
to
you're right,
predict.
Pawi.
It's really hard to predict according to the meteorologist faculty member of UP.
And that's what our own weatherman tells us also, that it's really unpredictable.
Yes, large-scale disturbances, convection are easier to or is easier to forecast. But this kind of a combination between the habagat rains and severe weather happening east of Luzon is I think harder to predict. Well, it's actually based on what the faculty member, the meteorologist that I talked to, or that I consulted.
How can we improve it, though? I mean, we can't be helpless.
Or are there new technologies?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Since
Yeah,
you launched,
that's the
right?
research. That's the research that they're doing throughout the years. Actually, it's been a decade already. The researchers have been calibrating the satellite data, have been calibrating the forecast simulations, and I think they've come a long way. But it's not 100%. Before it was about, I think, about 60 to 70%, and because of the calibration, they've increased it. And they find difficulty with this kind of severe weather.
So there's no tools yet. Kumbaga, human race hasn't come up with anything, any specific kind of satellite or radar to be able to detect kahit 2 hours in advance. Because that's kind of the window, right?
Like, for instance, what happened today, right? Students had to go home, classes were suspended noon. It created an even bigger problem.
I think the classes were suspended earlier because I saw the announcement this morning. So it was not afternoon. So the rains happened in the morning. The suspension was in the morning as well. I think late in the morning.
Okay.
But what's the window that we have now currently, sorry, Pawi, na parang how much lead time does technology allow us to be able to prepare? Kasi sometimes I see, expect this within 2 to 3 hours. That's the way the
All right.
rainfall advisories are released.
Yeah. When we're talking about floods, rain is different. Floods are different because it takes time for the water to pond and generate the flood. We have what we call as forecasts, and these forecasts are in advance, maybe a day or 2 days in advance, and that's based mainly on computer simulations. Now, we also have reference, or we can reference ground data such as sensors, rain gauges, as well as automated weather stations, and also satellite data, which provide near real-time data. When we look at this, we have what we call as nowcasts, and these nowcasts can predict the floods. As I said, the rain is different from the floods. So, if, for example, the rains happen in the mountains of Marikina, it will take several hours, maybe 3 to 6 hours before the floods rush in the low-lying areas of Marikina Valley. So that kind of prediction we can do. Project NOAA did that during the 2012 Habagat, 2013 Habagat, 2014 Habagat, during Ulysses, and last year as well, during Karina. Pag-asa does that as well. But in terms of the rain and the forecast a day in advance, sometimes the meteorologists, I think, experience difficulty.
Well, Mahar, what about, so you did mention ground data and satellite data, but in this article I read that UP NOAA also encourages users to send in their photos. Is that possible, sending photos of what they see on the ground in order to help your data and predicting the disasters and risks?
Yeah, we crowdsource data to be able to validate the flood hazard maps that we have created. And we've been doing this throughout the years for a decade already, and we've been validating the flood hazard maps. And the accuracy is quite high, even for flood simulations or hazard maps that we did a decade ago. So those crowdsourced data aren't really to improve the rainfall forecast. It's a way by which we can improve and validate the flood hazard maps that people can refer to find out whether their neighborhood is hazardous or not. And to find out also the places where it is safe to go to in case there's a severe weather event that is impacting the area.
And is funding a big factor when it comes to upscaling your data and the information for NOAA?
Of course, funding is very important. But I think the Philippines has been spending about 100 billion per year for disaster mitigation. And that's just one aspect of the 4 pillars of disaster response, or disaster efforts of the country. Because there's the response, there's the prevention and mitigation, there's the prevention part, and there's also the reconstruction and rehabilitation. Just for disaster mitigation alone, we are spending about 100 billion per year. So in terms of funding, I think it's available. We can do these things. We can improve research. We can improve the other non-structural means of solving our flood problem. So I really don't know exactly what your question is referring to. Is it the funding for NOAA, or is it the funding?
I guess, are you adequately funded? Because
we're being funded by government. In fact, Congress funded the building of a 10-story structure for the UP Resilience Institute and NOAA Center. We do get funding for UP. A part of it goes to the research that we're doing, but at the same time, we are augmenting it with projects coming from local government units, our funding coming from the private sector, as well as international funding outfits.
All right. Now, flooding seems to be getting worse every year. Can you pinpoint a single cause of this worsening floods, or is it a combination of many factors? Like, is it climate change?
Well,
is it
climate
climate change?
Yes.
Poor infrastructure? I mean, government keeps spending on flood prevention projects. pero nandyan pa din.
And
So,
before you answer, Mahar, I'd like to add to Ces's question para isa na lang yung sagot. How has your flood hazard map changed since its launch? That was way back Pinoy
13
admin,
years.
ago. And nagbago ba based on yung mga data from your crowdsourcing and the validation? Is there a big shift in how these maps look like now in 2025?
Yeah, we keep on producing new scenarios for floods because of climate change. So whenever there's a local government unit who tries to get our help or request for our help, we simulate the floods that reflect scenarios of climate change. And going back to the question of Ces, she asked what kind of things that or flood simulations we are doing, or what's the cause of it. Climate scientists have been saying that the rains, the severe weather events, the typhoons, the cyclones will become more powerful and more frequent. That means that the rains will increase, the floods will, of course, become larger. There will be more widespread landslides, and if there are storm surges, it will become higher. All of these are being simulated by the UPRI NOAA Center. So if I were to pinpoint a single thing that that causes all of these things, all of this hardship for people in Metro Manila, I think it's global warming that causes the climate to change, and those that happened only once every 100 years, which was quite rare, happen now instead of once every 100 years, once every 10 years, or once every 15 years, or even more frequent than that.
I forgot to include trash, human, waste, our contribution to this phenomenon of flooding.
Yes, of course, blocking the drainage would aggravate the problem. Putting concrete that reduces infiltration would also aggravate the problem. Cutting the trees in the forest also aggravates the problem. Climate change also aggravates the problem. It becomes more frequent, these floods, rains become more powerful. So there will be more suffering, and it's changing the manner by which we live. There are things that are natural, and add to that, there are anthropogenic activities that we are doing that complicate and aggravate our problem in the Philippines, which has already been there, and we're making it worse.
Well, Bahar, apart from climate change and human waste, you also posted on social media actually that one of the reasons kung bakit binabaha yung mga kalye, in particular you encircled Commonwealth Avenue. You said daanan talaga siya ng tubig pero nilapatan ng kalye. You were even criticizing some posts. Bakit may malaking poste dyan? I mean, is it also bad urban planning on our part?
Yes. We made a study on the MMDA list of flood-prone areas.
Okay, yes.
And we found out that when we compared it with the hazard maps that we created or we generated, that all of these flood-prone areas are at the intersection of rivers, intersection of streets and rivers. And I think the reason why that happens is because the engineering design of those areas did not consider the rise.
Saan ang daanan ng tubig?
Yes.
Where the water
Yes.
would pass?
It did not consider the swelling of the river. The drainage was not enough. Probably we were supposed to put a bridge there. We did not recognize that creek. Maybe at sometimes they are dry, especially during summer. We did not recognize them as a critical area in which we are supposed to build a more robust structure, like a bridge, to get the motorists to be able to cross that intersection. We normally just put bridges in rivers that are permanent, but there are many creeks. I think in Tagalog they're called lagnas, Lagnas, and they're normally dry, but they're low-lying areas, natural pathways for water to flow. Because they are dry most of the time, we just build the structure with only a small drainage. But when rains come like this one that we're experiencing, they swell and flood those intersections, the
What
street
about-
intersections and the rivers.
What about, we hear of, like Manggahan Floodway. Like by the name itself, it's obviously a daluyan ng tubig, but, ginawa siyang alternate route and then bigla na lang, may mga bahay na doon, may mga businesses na doon. How does that, and then yung mga, like Araneta Avenue, right? So we put up Skyway there, right? And they're supposed to fix the pumping. Like, pwede pa bang repasuhan yung mga ganyan, Mahar?
Actually, hindi one answer does not fit all situations, di ba? It's quite a difficult question to answer. Of course, when you constrict the path, the drainage, putting settlements there, the water cannot flow as much. And therefore, if kumbaga parang na traffic, di ba? The water can't flow that fast, so it ponds at the back, no? And that ponding is called as a flood. If we constrict it with, let's say, piles, the footing of the skyway, then the river capacity will decrease and therefore cause further flooding. Again, we are doing some things that aggravate the problem. This is a natural phenomenon, flooding. The rains happen all the time. But we're aggravating the problem by clogging the drainage, reducing the infiltration, cutting down the trees, and so on.
I guess it's also because there's not much science-based studies done before all this infrastructure is built.
Actually,
or
there
makinig
were a
sila
lot.
sa scientist, tignan yung NOAA map, yun lang.
Wait. There were a lot. But
There were a
it's
lot, but-
only- Okay, says it was only in 2012 that we invested in technology. And that technology is called LiDAR. Light detection and ranging that allowed us to image the landscape of the Philippines in high detail. And that was the detail that we needed to be able to create these flood scenarios. Now, when was Metro Manila built? I mean, it has been there for a long time. And the project NOAA, which was able to see all of these things, came only recently. But I think it's not yet too late. We can still do something about it, rectify the problem if we look at all of this research and integrate it into our plans. Well, the problem
But
is sometimes...
2012, that's so 13 years ago.
Yeah, but the Metro Manila has been here for how many decades already? Di
Maybe
ba?
a century.
And man has this propensity to live in hazardous areas. They live beside the river because there's a source of water. Now that we have these technologies, we can incorporate all of this new information into our plans in the manner by which we do
How
things.
is your map different from the DOST's hazard map? Is it
Well,
one?
remember that Project NOAA was a DOST activity. It was a DOST-funded program. Maybe what you're referring to is the DNR map, the MGB map. It's different in terms of methodology because the methodology of the MGB maps of DNR are based on interviews and expert opinion. Our maps in NOAA are simulated using a detailed topography and using the knowledge on the physics of the flow of water. So we simulate it based on the historical rainfall of Pag-asa, a historical rainfall record of more than 30 years. And then we let it flow over that detailed topography to see where it floods and it does not flood. And on top of that, we validate it using the crowdsourced data that was
DNR.
asked earlier. That was asked earlier. Yes.
All right.
So there's a big difference between the methodologies in arriving at the two types of maps. Those are based on interviews, based on the historical record and expert opinion. The maps of NOAA are based on computer simulations, the physics. These are powerful computers, by the way, and the physics of the flow of water, and of course validated by people on the ground. And we've been doing that for so many years already, more than a decade already.
And this just in, actually, a red rainfall warning has already been raised in Metro Manila, which means there could be serious flooding, torrential rain, and unpassable roads and life-threatening landslides. So I guess they should also check Project NOAA to identify which areas. You can actually input your particular location. So.
While we were talking to Mahar, no, biglang
Oo nga,
tumunog
biglang,
yung ano
Ma-
yung
did you
RFC,
hear
oh.
also your own warning on your phone?
You know, the alert that you cannot silence was going off.
You're referring to the NDRC
Right,
emergency
right.
alert?
Yeah. In closing, Mahar, you said it's not too late. What message would you like to give government to listen more to scientists in planning? What is it?
Yeah.
Or to each one of us?
Yeah, I think it's best if there are new discoveries, there's new research, especially if there are findings that are relevant, to be able to adjust to the status quo by which we execute things, we do things. And when there are new information and new technologies that we can use, let's use it. Because if we don't, we get to live or stay in living with the past. So there are new ways by which to solve problems, and it's important to do research and science to understand the problem, because we cannot find the appropriate solution if we don't understand it. And science will get us there.
Thank you. That was Mahar Lagmay, Executive Director, Project NOAA.
Thank you.
For now, we're going to be pausing for another quick break, but we will be returning and we will have lawyer Harry Roque contemplating on going home and facing his trafficking case here in the Philippines. His plans when he finally comes home. When the big story returns, stay with us.
You're watching the big story here on One News. Former presidential spokesperson, Attorney Harry Roque, is contemplating coming home. In a video uploaded on Instagram, Roque initially expressed his frustration in former President Rodrigo Duterte's continued detention at The Hague. He also alluded to Duterte's legal team as making their own decisions on the case, which, according to Roque, are yet to yield positive results. So instead of staying in The Hague, he's just rather come home and face his legal battles and the administration here.
Nag-iisip na nga po ako kung mas mabuti pa sigurong umuwi na ako ng Pilipinas at kahit papano labanan ng Marcos administration sa loob ng kulungan. Kasi sa mga pangyayari po dito sa kay Tatay Digong sa Dahig, hindi ko naman po maatim na panuurin lang si Tatay Digong habang nakakulong at walang nangyayari. Hindi po tayo nagkulang sa pagbibigay ng suhestyon, kaya lang po hindi po tayo ang nagdedesisyon para kay Tatay Digong. So, ganyan pong ka-frustrated ako at iniisip ko nga, siguro mas mabuting labanan na yung aking walang saysay na kaso sa Pilipinas at labanan si Marcos dyan sa Pilipinas muli.
Now, over the weekend, the legal team of former President Rodrigo Duterte asked the ICC to suspend its decision on his request for interim release just weeks after they filed the motion themselves. In a redacted filing, the defense claimed that they have been unable to access crucial information from the prosecution and urged the court to delay ruling until that material is made available. But prosecutors pushed back, accusing the defense of acting prematurely. They argued that Duterte's camp filed the request despite missing information and now are trying to stall after earlier demanding urgency. In an interview with our sister program Storycon, ICC-accredited lawyer Attorney Joel Butuyan called out the defense's inconsistency, saying the request lacked legal grounding and focused on irrelevant issues.
Teka-teka motion or an atras-abante motion, no? The defense moved for interim release, and then when the prosecution filed its response, biglang they want to suspend, no? The issues in an interim release are whether or not Duterte is a flight risk, whether or not the victims would be at risk, no? They would be endangered if he's released, and the evidence would be compromised, and whether or not Duterte will commit more crimes if he's released, no? And it appears that the defense is making a big issue out of whether or not there is a country that is willing to take him in, no? If the interim release is granted. But you know, the issue of whether or not there is a country willing to take him in is at the bottom of the totem pole of issues.
And on a lighter note, this rainy Monday evening, our big picture tonight is the Philadelphia Phillies not holding back during their latest kiss cam, trolling the now viral CEO and HR head who got way too cozy at a Coldplay concert last week. Set to Coldplay's Speed of Sound, the Phillies mascot spoofed the infamous cuddle panic moment between astronomer CEO Andy Byron and head of people Christine Cabot, who, plot twists, are both married, but just not to each other. The crowd went wild as the mascots nailed the scene, one ducking out of frame and the other turning away in mock shame. The original clip, filmed at a Coldplay concert in Foxborough, Massachusetts, went viral after frontman Chris Martin teased that the couple might be having an affair or were just extremely shy. As the video racked up millions of views, Astronomer launched an investigation, and by Saturday, the company confirmed that Byron had resigned, saying its leaders, quote, failed to meet the standard. Did you see that video?
Oh my God. How could we have missed it? I thought it was a spoof. But now, on more serious note, you're right, Pao.
Yes,
We have to reiterate that red rainfall warning. It covers a lot of areas. Then there's also an orange warning level in some areas under yellow.
And what's the latest on the Marikina River?
We do have a live feed of the Marikina River. So just there we go. We have it.
It looks like it's, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably 17.8.
Yes. We can see that 18 na lang yung nakikita natin exposed number.
Malapit na, which will mean
Third alarm in Marikina and forced evacuation for residents in low-lying areas.
So it's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
And those stuck in NLEX also, we have the live feeds, which we were showing at the earlier commercial break. Long traffic. Again, Bulacan is a very flood-prone area because of the dams that pour out water into that area. So, red warning level is over Metro Manila, Bataan, and Bulacan, including Obando, May Kawayan, Marilao, Bulacan, Malolos, Paumbong, Hagonoy, San Jose del Monte. Serious flooding is expected in flood-prone areas. So orange warning level over Zambales, Pampanga, Cavite, Batangas, Laguna, Rizal, and Bulacan, including Angat, Balagtas, Baliwag, Bukawe, Bustos, Kalumpit, Toña Remedios, Trinidad, Giginto, Norzagaray, Pandi, Plaridel, Pulilan, San Ildefonso, San Miguel, San Rafael, and Santa Maria. Flooding still threatening in those areas. So do check Pag-asa's latest forecasts. It's all on their social media pages.
Even Project NOAA to know if your area
Right.
will be affected by the incessant rains. All right, but for this Monday, that's it for the big story. Thank you so much for watching.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here tomorrow at 7:30. Till then, stay safe and stay dry. Have a good night.
Coming up next, to distract us from the rain, if we are so lucky, we have play-by-play with Andre Felix and Cheska Leton Calao. Guys, may joke sana kami about matching si Cheska.
Twinning!
Although I don't know how Sean is surviving in a sleeveless top because I'm freezing right now.
It's a sweater. It's a cozy knit sweater anyway. Actually, I mas pawisin ako So, sakto lang yung weather for me. I love it.
Waterproof.
Hindi ako dumadami.
Ay, may na-hurt na naman.
Ano po? Hindi, nagtatanong ka kanina in case dun sa as of 8:15 p.m., News 5 just tweeted, posted on X na as of 8:15 p.m., 17.7 meters ang water level sa Marikina River. And also, pinatupad na yung preemptive evacuation. Ngayon, yun na nga, nasa second alarm na. So, just in case dun sa ating mga manonood ngayon. And stay safe, stay dry. If you don't need to go out, just stay at home. Kayo din, on your way home, ingat kayo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ikaw din. Ingat
din.
sila sa'yo.
Kabahan yung bagyo.
Andre.
Ganon.
Ay, teka lang. Batiin naman natin yung bagong buhok ni Sean Yao.
Akala ko kayo sa Bob. Kaming dalawa nag-haircut.
Gumaganong ka eh.
Sa Bob. Oo, pero parang sakto
Nice.
lang, less nababasa in this weather. So, mabilis magpatuyo.
But
Ganun
thank
na.
you. Yes, go ahead.
Wala.
May
Yun
sasabihin
na.
ka pa?
Wala.
Okay.
Bye,
Maraming
Andre.
salamat, Sean. Thank you once again to the ladies of The Big Story on a Monday night. Great show as always, Sestrilon, Sean Yao, and Pauline Versosa. Of course, on our show, top of the story, big story.
What else would it be?
Of course, the Pac-Man, Manny Pacquiao, the aftermath of Manny Pacquiao's comeback fight after 4 years. He's back against Mario Barrios. It was a draw, as well as we will have a breakdown from boxing analyst Ryan Sugalia. And we tell you the latest on a couple of national teams, including Alas Pilipinas men and Gilas Pilipinas women.